Now, yes, you may get that money back, all of it or part of it, but when do you get it back? After you file your taxes, right? So if you close this deal in January, you don't file until April 15th of the next year, and then, didn't I read in the newspaper not too long ago that the state of California is jacking people around on tax refunds? So maybe another 6 months to a year before you actually get your money. So they borrowed money from you, $33,000 for up to 18, 22, maybe 2 years, 24 months. How do you avoid that? Use a land trust. Use a land trust.
You don't have that 3.3% sales tax with a land trust?
Not when you sell beneficial interest because it's unrecorded. Title stays in the same name and nobody knows the difference. We talked about avoiding the $800 entity fee. And Kathy, I appreciate the fact that you didn't argue with me, because every other accountant I've ever spoken in front of has argued with me and said, you're wrong, Randy, until they thought it through, and by the end of the meeting they came back and said, no, I think you are right.
Not only that, but you gotta have a tax return done too.
Tax return done for what?
For the
entity, yes. Yeah. And the other interesting thing about LLCs, guys, anybody got a single member LLC?
Well, I don't, but I...
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, because most single-member LLCs are worthless. They have no asset protection. The courts are blowing through them like candy. Now, Nevada just passed a law last year, in June, it went into effect October 1st, that extends full asset protection to single-member LLCs, which means all the creditor can get is a charging order, but they can't get the actual LLC. In most other states, they're going to get you. They're going to get you. And here you're thinking you've set all this structure up that you're all protected. You aren't. So be careful. Either set it up in the right state, like Nevada, or have a multi-member LLC. All right. We talked about lease options in California. A lease option is considered a de facto contract setting. So you do a lease option and the guy flakes out on you as a tenant, he still has rights to your house through that option contract. So you don't want to do a standard lease option. You want to use a land trust and do this. Okay? That will protect you against that happening. Now, I think I've proven to you that land trusts are pretty good tools in our business. So the question is, where are you going to get the knowledge and the training to start setting up your own land trust? Saturday is a good start. You can hire an attorney. How much did your attorney charge you for that land trust? Have you been billed yet?
No, I've had it too.
Do you have an idea what he's going to do?
It's less than $1,500.
Okay. Depends on what area you're in. You know, Santa Barbara's a pretty ritzy area, so you may hit $1,000. In my town, it's probably more like 500. But anyway, look at it. It gets expensive if you have much in the way of property. I like to teach you how to do it yourself, so you never have to pay again. You put these forms on your computer, and you can make 100 trusts if you want to. The only expense you have is recording the deed, and you're always going to have that. But you'll have no expense of forming it. You'll probably do a much better job than anybody else. So here's the deal. If you go to my website right now, it's $497 for this home study. You get the course guide, the DVD of me teaching an all-day seminar, and all the forms you need. You don't need anything else. When I'm speaking like I'm out on the road here, I discount it by $100. And Dan asked me to throw in a little extra, and so I can't believe I'm doing this, but I spend, as you can tell, I spend a lot of time on this subject. I formed several years ago a thing called the Land Trust University, and it's a membership only. It's $298 a year just to belong to that, whether you get the course or not, just to belong to it. And one of the cool things about belonging to the Land Trust University is you get coaching sessions once a month by me personally. On a Saturday morning, I have my students from all over the United States call in, and we talk about, I answer all their questions. We talk about land trusts, privacy, asset protection, corporations, and LLCs. Those sessions are recorded. So if you miss one, I'll give you the website to go to, and you can download and listen to them. And at that website, you can get the last 4 years. Those are 50 calls you will have instant access to as a member of the Land Trust University. That, like I said, is $298. So if you were to buy this on my website tonight, it would cost you $745 for all that. I will sell it to you tonight for $397. That's a killer deal, and you'll never pay again. One of the download benefits, bonuses to the Land Trust University is my privacy and asset protection book. It's 280 pages. It doesn't say anything about land trusts. It just talks about how to be more private and protect your assets. It took me 25 years to research this information, 93 hours to write the book, and then I revised it last year with another 19 hours of my life. So there's a lot of meat in that one book. It sells on my website for $97. You get it for free as a member of the Land Trust University. You also get a 1-year subscription to my newsletter. I'm the only guy on the planet writing a Land Trust newsletter. You get access to my Land Trust blog. I'm the only guy on the planet writing a Land Trust blog. So you're going to get a great education, quick and cheap. And it's fully tax deductible, so you can write it off. Now, if you don't want to get the home study, you can come to my class in Culver City. And don't tell me Culver City is too far to drive, because I traveled 2,000 miles to get here tonight. So it can't be too far for you to drive. 1-day training, 8:30 is registration Saturday morning. We'll start the class at 9. We'll go to 4. $397 is the price for the seminar. That includes everything that's in the home study except the DVDs. I don't give you the DVDs because you're coming to the class. Okay? Make sense? But other than that, it's all the same information. And it's tax deductible. Now, I've got a little bonus going on. Saturday night, we have invited a bunch of people to come in, and everybody who attends my class can come in from 7 to 8 in the same hotel. It's at the 4 Points Sheraton in Culver City. We're going to do a little, I'm going to talk about asset protection, privacy and asset protection. And I've got another guy that's coming in that's going to talk about buying real estate in Southern California. So we got a little bonus meeting that evening at no cost. So that is pretty much the deal. You either get my home study course and the Land Trust University membership, or you can register for the seminar. The forms, did everybody get one of these? If you open this envelope up, please. I've got my business card in here. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to pass around. I'm going to pass around this form. If you would please give me your name and email address, and please print clearly your email address. I am going to send you, at no cost, I've given you this booklet, 50 Reasons. I've got a couple other booklets, so I'll send you one of those. I've got one that's called Land Trust a Must Read Report, and I've got the 10 most frequently asked questions. As you can imagine, I get the same questions asked over and over again, and so I finally just wrote it in the answers to the 10 most frequently asked questions and put it in the booklet. I'll email those to you. If you just give me your email address, I'll send that to you at no charge. So I've got my business card in there. I've got the form to sign up for the seminar this weekend. And I've got a little article on privacy and asset protection, a flyer on the Sunday paper, pumping paper for profits, and a little article I wrote called Privacy for Paranoia. Some people say I'm paranoid, but others call it being cautious. Okay, before we end up this evening, any questions? Any last minute questions? Yes, ma'am.
On this page here in the envelope, it says, avoid the California reassessment and sales tax. So if you sell a property, it doesn't get reassessed?
You know, we didn't, I skipped over that. I thank you for bringing that up. What was it, 1971 or 2 when you passed Proposition 13?
Yeah.
And that said that your assessment was frozen and they could only raise it like 2 or 3% a year.
Yeah.
So now we got all these little old ladies in California that have had a house for 40 years that's assessed for $100,000 that's worth $2 million. And you go out and you negotiate a killer deal with her, and she's going to sell you that $2 million house for $1 million. Great deal. What's going to happen to the tax bill when you get that reassessment from $100 grand to $1 million? Ooh, boy, your cash flow just went out the door, didn't it? Use a land trust. Have the little old lady put the property in the land trust first, which she has every right to do. She has a federal right to do that. In 1982, they passed a law called the Garn-St. Germain Act, which says that everybody in America has a right to put their house in a trust without it triggering the due on sale clause. So you have her put it in there, and then you buy the beneficial interest of the trust, and the assessment remains the same. Thank you for pointing that out. That's another biggie. I just can't get all the biggies out. There's so many of them.
So then the sales tax you did hit on, and you can avoid that too? I heard you say it and everything, I just wasn't clear.
Yeah, you're avoiding it because there's nothing recorded. The trick is when you record stuff, that triggers all of this taxing stuff. And California is just like Illinois. They are coming after us with a vengeance to tax us every way, shape they can, so they can spend more money than what they take in. So we got to fight back, guys. I mean, it's our money. Yes, sir.
Because you're selling the beneficial interest and you're not selling the real property interest, how does that look tax-wise to the person that's receiving the money?
He treats it just like it was in his name. If he has a gain, he reports capital gain. If he has a loss, he reports his loss.
So he can't use a 1031 exchange in that instance because it's not real property, it's...
No, he could. Yeah, I thought he was just selling it, but he could do a 1031 exchange as long as it's like-kind property. The same rules apply.
Even though it's selling his beneficial interest.
Well, he wouldn't be selling, he'd be exchanging in that example.
So, but he can go from, then they'd be going from personal property, or personal property interest to real property interest by doing the exchange then, right?
Yes, although what he'd probably do is have whoever he's buying the property from, if it's not in a trust, have them put it in the trust and then exchange beneficial interest for beneficial interest. Because if he's smart enough to use a land trust, he's probably going to demand it.
Trust to trust.
Trust to trust. Yes, Dan.
Now, if a parent did a trust, land trust, to their children, you would avoid the taxes, the sale, all that. Would you end up leaving the title the same, leave it in the parent's name, and leave the loan there, and you'd be making the payments on the loan?
Wait a minute. Are you saying put the property into trust and make your children the beneficiary?
Yeah, like say if the parent made the children the beneficiary, and then the parent passed away, what happens is the...
Well, it doesn't matter. If they set the trust up, put the kids as beneficiary, it doesn't matter what happens to the parent. The kids own it.
Right.
And you got to be careful doing that because it's the same as gifting. You can give, I can gift you $14,000 this year and there's no gift tax. If I form a land trust and put a property in there that's got $20,000 worth of equity, it's the same as giving you 20 grand. Now we got a problem on $6,000 difference, right? So You know, you can't just throw this stuff into a land trust and make somebody else the beneficiary without the possibility of a tax problem.
Gotcha.
Okay? I thought there was one other question over here.
Other states, so my understanding is the forms are slightly different from state to state, so.
Not so much the forms as the deed. The trust agreements are almost universal, but the deed.
So
Well, like, and it's not big, it's little. It's like in my county, they won't record anything that doesn't have the top half of page 1 blank. Now, my brother lives in the western suburbs of Chicago, and his county requires the top quarter right side of the page to be blank. And then there's some verbiage, if it's a transfer that's exempt from transfer tax, then you've got to put that at the bottom of the deed. This transfer is exempt under paragraph 2-24. Because if you're transferring out of your name into a trust that you're the beneficiary of, that's non-taxable. They can't tax you the transfer tax.
So generally, if you're using the local county forms, you're going to be able to file that stuff, okay?
Yeah, and you guys have, you have your own deeds and things that you're accustomed to using. It's just that a deed in trust is a little different than your standard deeds. It's not a warranty deed, it's not a quitclaim deed. The deed in trust has a little different verbiage. Primarily the verbiage that says the interest, this deed is going to be held in a trust and the interest is personal property. You've got to have that verbiage in the deed. Yes,
Do you offer any kind of email coaching or any kind of, hand-holding outside of the 12 sessions that you talked about?
I actually do, and as long as you don't abuse me, I answer my phone all the time. It's amazing. People call from all over the United States, and I say, "Hi, this is Randy." And they say, "What? You answered your phone?" I didn't have to go through voicemail and hear from you 6 weeks from now. I had a past student call me about 3 hours ago. I can't remember what state they're in. They were in a real estate closing. And they were buying property from a bank, an REO, and the bank wouldn't deed to their trustee. Because, she admitted, she said, I just finished your last DVD and now I know the mistake I made. I made the offer in my name instead of the trustee's name. And they won't change paperwork at the last minute. But I called them back. They were in their closing and I called them back. Nobody does that anymore. No. Nobody gives you service like that anymore. It's just, I'm old school, I hate calling companies and not getting an answer and having nobody call me back. I hate it so much that to a fault I answer my phone. So yes, I'm pretty much there for you. The other thing is I have a discussion forum on my website that you can go and post a question. So if it's midnight and you're not going to get me up, go to the discussion forum, post your question, I'll see it the next day and I'll answer it. And you can also see what other people have asked and answered. We're really learning. So, thank you very much for having me. I hope to see you all at the class on Saturday. If you can't make it, please get a home study course. It will be worth your time and money. Thanks a lot.
If you want one, they can come up here.
Yeah, I've got some home studies with me, and I got the forms. Otherwise, if you're coming to the class, just fill out the form that's in the envelope and bring it up to me, and we'll get that done.
Okay, great.
All right?
I want to thank you all for showing up. Please do come up, ask me some more questions. We will more than likely not have a meeting next month, November or December, and be back in January. Okay? I'm there too. If you want to give me a call or an email, whatever. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.